got the contract to do the campus. So all these brick rectilinear buildings were the ones that HOK came up with. And in that plan was to have a religious center where non-denominational, everyone could share the space and use it for the students to worship here on campus, since it's so kind of disconnected from the rest of the town. The budget kind of ran out, and that was a low priority. So Bucky had heard it through the grapevine that that was getting scrapped, and he offered the geodesic dome that we're in today as an efficient, cost-effective solution to be able to get a religious center on this campus. But for him, it was also a way to get this structure built, which had been kind of in his ideas pile for a while, since even when he was teaching at Harvard, and he referred to this as a geoscope, which, geo as in earth and then scope. So when you're inside of this building, you are looking out from the heart of the planet. And I'll go into how that looks a little bit later, but you're literally inside getting a view of the world from the heart of the planet. So it's a great kind of, again, architectural metaphor for this kind of unity. And when the sun goes down, the land is clear, and when there weren't so many parking lot and street lights, you can see the stars clearly. And like, if you were to look through North Africa there, and you were to look through Cairo, any star that you were able to see in the night sky beyond that location is actually in zenith in reality over that location.
Huh.
So it's a true planetarium, but he referred to it as a geoscope. And it would help see your place in the world and the world's place in the universe. So it's a pretty profound and ambitious role for architecture to play. But while he was drawing the plans for this over in Carbondale in the 60s, this building opened up in 1971, so he really kind of got busy with it 67, 68, 69. It seemed like the world was literally coming apart at that time. 1969, on the campus that he was at in Carbondale, their most iconic building, Old Main, was burned to the ground over a protest over the Vietnam War, because that building housed their ROTC, and it also had this place that was put there by the federal government called the Center for Vietnamese Studies, which was exploring how are we going to install a friendly government in Vietnam after we win the war over there that would help push back again communism, which he had tried to embrace through living Green a decade before that. Again, that building, and John was there at that time, I think, was burned to the ground. So here he is designing a building for a college campus in this time when literally buildings on college campuses are being destroyed. So it's further kind of significant that this is a metaphor for global unity and cooperation when, at the time it was done. Then even next year, 1970, that's when the Kent State shootings were happening. 4 students got killed at Kent State. And the year, we think times are volatile now, but 69 to 70, the government records show that there were 4,000 bombings in the United States around protests between 69 and 70. So, that was when the birth of this building occurred. So all of that was pretty much on his mind, creating this architectural metaphor for global unity. So, we're lucky to have it. And it's very fascinating that a few serendipitous things happened, that Bucky didn't even get the initial contract for this place, but it also, him stepping forward and creating this as a solution, allowed his whole legacy to really come full circle. Because, as I mentioned, the central reference point for this Dymaxion map, which was the initial innovation before his geodesic dome, was the 90th longitudinal meridian. And the 90th longitudinal meridian runs through this campus. And he was able to actually position this building straddling the 90th longitudinal meridian. So the 90th longitudinal meridian passes directly through this building. And the south corner of it is that corner right there, and the north corner of it is this glass corner. So I'm standing on the 90th meridian. So when I'm standing here and I look directly overhead,
That pentagon-shaped vent is where I'm standing on the actual plan. So when you're standing here, you see your place in the world, and then at night when the stars come out and you look through the land, you see the world's place in the universe. So as far as in the tradition of temple building and church, this is a really perfect example of kind of this idea of trying to capture the macrocosm of these universal ideas that are represented as the Creator's hand in a microcosm scale. And he achieves it beautifully. So, it's the Center for Spirituality and Sustainability's mission to get programming in here that continues telling that story, to preserve this building, which, is showing its age now. And as you can hear it popping, that's it heating up as the sun gets out from behind the clouds. It's expanding a little bit. But it does have some places where it leaks. We've had to put money into a new stairs, and it's really kind of a hand-to-mouth existence for us. So, I've got my work cut out for me in trying to, raise money and bring money in. And we recently met with a committee that includes a contractor and an architect to explore the ideas of what would it take to get this building, reglazed, where you can kind of see where panels have been replaced, and not done well, like that one's clear and that one's too dark. It needs redone. We'd love to have a green roof on the place. There's plans for a plaza that would connect it to the university more. We'd love to bring in national speakers and programs that would, reinforce our mission. And their outside estimate at this point was $3 million. So that's a big chunk, that's a big piece of money, but we're going to push forward and keep trying to come up with that. Yeah.
Are you looking at the application?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One of the other things I did was to write up an application to the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency, and we're about 5 steps into a 7-step process. So they recommended that we should be on the National Register of Historic Places, and they've just within the last few weeks have kind of cleared their docket of stuff that they had pending before our application. So they meet again in October to review our application to have it sent up to the national level, and at that point we'd be added to the National Register. I think we're a shoo-in because Bucky's house in Carbondale got added to the National Register, and it's a much less impressive structure and doesn't kind of like bring in all the philosophical stuff about unity and global unity and the worldview and connected on the 90th meridian to his Dymaxion map. And so this place really kind of serendipitously includes and encompasses all of Buckminister Fuller's legacy, his architectural legacy, philosophical legacy, even metaphysical legacy in housing a church. Yeah.